Anytime you can get your unique superpowers in front of someone else's audience, you're turning on a client attraction magnet. You are listening to Amplify Your Success podcast, episode 347. And today I'm going to reveal how to find your next 7 to 10 speaking opportunities so you can get your message in front of your best audiences. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. Your host, Authority Amplifier Melanie Benson, and Possibility Igniter for expert-based entrepreneurs who want to double and triple their revenue in the next 90 days. And today, I'm going to share with you how you can turn on one of my most favorite tried and true client attraction systems, which is sharing your message. I am a huge fan of being a guest on other people's podcasts. That's one of them that we'll talk about today. But there are other ways that are dormant inside the visibility plan for a lot of expert-based entrepreneurs. And so I want to help you maybe expand your horizons a little bit today. Now, speaking, being a guest expert, doing interviews, however you want to refer to it, is part of a 7-step framework that I think you have to have all the pieces of the puzzle working well together to get the full benefit of being in front of new audiences. And if you don't have all the 7 pieces, you may be doing part of the process like getting speaking gigs or podcast interviews, but it's not working. And I want to share this framework with you. I've made it a really easy PDF download so you can get all 7 elements clear in your mind and you can self-audit your own setup and make sure that you've got all the right pieces in place. If you go to amplifywithmelanie.com, I will give this to you absolutely free as my gift, but promise me that you will download it, that you will review it, and you will audit yourself. And if you want me to audit it with you, feel free to reach out and request a fast track consultation. And let's figure out what assets you have in place that are working and what assets are you missing that will actually help not just elevate you as an authority, not just get you on more stages, but actually help you double and triple your revenue now. Head over to amplifywithmelanie.com and let's get you real results. So let's talk about where we're going to find you these speaking opportunities. And I want to take a step back for a minute and just give you my impression of why speaking works so well. And to take you back to the beginning of my career in the year 2000, I found that when I was in front of an audience with a magnetic message, I was basically educating a new audience on how I could solve their problem for them. And I discovered very quickly with the right message, and I put right in big, bold letters, that I would quickly have a line of clients to work with. And part of that is your message, but part of it is they're learning who you are. They're picking up on your energy. They're, that know, like, and trust factor is being activated because they're experiencing you in real time in front of an audience. And the other benefit that I think is worth mentioning here is that when you are a guest expert, when you are a speaker, when you are invited to share your superpowers, your talent, your insights, and wisdom on someone else's platform, whether that's in person or virtually or in a podcast environment, you are borrowing influence from that host, which immediately elevates your authority in the audience's minds. And that gives you an advantage over a lot of other people who may do similar things, but you're the person that's being asked to speak or share your wisdom. So it gives you an edge. So if those 3 aren't enough, I also believe that speaking, at least for me, is a joy. Do I get nervous? Yes. But I love it. I love connecting with audiences. I love the energy that gets built up between myself and somebody who I know is really getting massive value. I went looking several times throughout the trajectory of my business for what are the needle movers? What are the things that when I do them, it turns on a flood of new opportunities? Whether that's clients, or I guess a fourth benefit I should have mentioned is new speaking opportunities, more opportunities to get in front of audiences, to collaborate with other peers who share an audience that I want to be in front of. And I found that the track record I have with speaking and getting my message in front of those audiences that way was the number one lead source. And so today in my programs, I'm oftentimes teaching my clients, hey, let's get you in front of new stages. And so the next question often is, Melanie, where do I find these opportunities? So let's go through how to find some of these opportunities. And I'm going to shortcut this for you, right? Like, I want to help you get in front of audiences where your ideal clients are looking for you. Now, my personal favorite, because it's virtual, because 99.9% of the time you can do this from your own home office, is being a guest on podcasts and live shows. This is an easy, collaborative, quick start, if you will, that can open up not just a flood of leads, but also can help you build a new relationship with a potential collaboration partner, which can lead to a lot more visibility and leads down the road. I've unpacked how to do that in other episodes. I will actually link them up in the show notes and give you a couple of places that you can dig deeper into that if you want. I will say that when you work with me in my guest expert program, one of the things I do is I help you in real time identify 10 to 20 podcasts or live shows that you could be a guest on and pitch them and get bookings. So to me, this is one of the easiest ways to get all of it started. Now, let's say you want to add some other things. How else can you find speaking opportunities? Well, I believe that when you network with other influencers who host events, this is an amazing opportunity to get those invitations. My early invitations to speak all came from my first mastermind group. I probably generated over $1 million in revenue those first 2-3 years simply by being a guest on their stages. So they're doing all the work, they're putting the events together, they're getting the audience built and inviting me to come in and speak on those stages. That's coveted, right? So today, I would say 60% of the invitations that come my way continue to be either through those relationships or relationships I'm currently cultivating with other influencers who host events. So put the intentionality in developing a great network. Now, there's a whole art to collaboration and managing your collaborative network. Again, this is probably something you want to dig deep into and understand for yourself, because you want to really have a win-win-win relationship with those people. Because if you nurture them right, you're going to get invitations for a long time. Now, how do you get into those networks? Well, you need to be visible with a message, right? So sometimes these influencers might just reach out to you. And I think we forget the power of being consistently visible with your magnetic message. So I highly recommend, and this may seem so simple, you're like, Melanie, really, is this going to work? Well, if you're networking with influencers, you're connecting with influencers on your social media profiles, post relevant, powerful, and magnetic content on your socials. Highlight where you're already being featured. Create posts with branded tips, or unpack one of your frameworks, or share a quote or a case study, right? The more visible you are on your socials, that with representational content, the easier it is for people to quickly go, oh yeah, I've been loving what you're putting out. I'm putting an event together, or I'm looking for a guest on this. Just this week, I had somebody who I spoke at an event last year, and we stayed friends connected on social. And she's launching her podcast, and this is a big brand name in the authoring world. And she said, would you come and be a guest on my podcast? Okay, so I do very little pitching today. Most of it comes through connecting with the right people, being visible with my message, with my tips, with my insights, with my results, and then people saying, hey, can you come and share that in my audience? There's a third, or I guess I should say a fourth way that I like to create opportunity. And let's say you are maybe just getting started and you don't really have a network yet, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, Melanie, this is great. If you already have authority and positioning, how do I get started? Well, you can do things like audience swap. And so one of the things that happened for me early on, and then I recreated with my own podcast and my own events that I host, was I found that because I was putting on a lot of events locally, I had a lot of relevance to big name speakers and celebrity entrepreneurs in my community who wanted a stage. And so they would invite me to their stages to open up that law of reciprocity. And so be willing to create some kind of opportunity for other influential experts who you know have a similar audience that you want to get in front of. Well, give first. Create an audience swap opportunity. So if you have a podcast, invite them to be a guest on your podcast. If you've got a show, invite them to be an expert on your show. If you're putting an event together, great. You could even do something so simple like do a live stream series, so pick a theme or pick a day and interview them back to back on one of your social platforms. And you can create your own mini events and give massive value and open up that law of reciprocity. So no matter where you are in the trajectory of your career, or if you've pivoted your brand, or if you're new, or you don't have the relationships, you can create those relationships and add massive value and position your authority quickly with audience swaps. Here's some other things that you can do. Look for Facebook groups that specialize in visibility and helping people connect. There's so many of them. I will put a plug in here for Amplify Your Authority. That is my my complimentary Facebook group, I should say. And we, at least once or twice a month, give you opportunities to post that you are an expert in this area. You're looking for talk opportunities, or if you have a show and you want to pitch your show and get new guests, we give you opportunities to connect. And it's amazing actually how many people don't have that on their radar and miss those opportunities. But this can be a great way for you to get to know other like-minded entrepreneurs with visibility opportunities. So look for groups that maybe specialize in your niche, and then please come take advantage of the opportunity in Amplify Your Authority. We love helping you make these kind of connections. Another one, join masterminds or group coaching that is oriented towards speakers and experts. Honestly, the people that have been in my masterminds over the years, it's amazing how many of them build collaborations, but there's tons of them out there. Just find some that feel resonant with you. And you want to make sure that it's a mastermind that you're actually going to get value out of, not just a networking opportunity. And there, again, you'll find things that feel really tuned into what you're looking for if you just start asking. I always say watch for press releases. So one of the little advantages to being in my paid mastermind or in the guest expert program that I teach is I pull in visibility opportunities that come to me through the press. And I get a ton of them all the time where people are looking for certain experts. Well, those press releases oftentimes also include, hey, we're putting this event together. We're looking for speakers. Get on the radar. I mean, if you're not in my Ignite Mastermind or in Guest Expert System, then figure out how to get where reporters and press and publicists are actively giving you an opportunity to pitch them your topics. So that can be a great way for you to get new speaking opportunities. I would say another opportunity is going back to recognizing the value of pitching yourself. So I think everybody needs to build the muscle called I know how to pitch my topic and get bookings while you're waiting for the energy to flip and you get the pitches from the people who are booking. And so you can pitch a podcaster, you can pitch an event host. I think part of the reason more people don't do that is they don't know how. So this is a skill to develop. And, again, like if people are in guest expert system, this is something I give you the whole process, but you can probably Google it and find some resources available to you. But think about who is already serving your audience and who is hosting live events where they invite other people to be on those stages. When I've had like maybe a slow space, I kind of keep my eye open for who's doing big events. And if I notice they're doing big events, I might reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed you've been booking speakers on this. What are you looking for in a speaker? What are you looking for in an expert? I'd love to explore how we might be able to, work together in that way. And a lot of times I just wasn't on their radar, or they didn't realize I had a topic that was aligned, and it would open up new possibilities. Don't be afraid to start the pitch, to reach out to someone who has a podcast and put your name in the hat. Because trust me, whatever platform this person hosts, there are a bazillion people who are approaching them. And when you do an intelligent and well thought out pitch, you're going to stand out. And this is, going to open up some opportunities. Another one I think is worth looking at is back along the lines of podcast guesting. There are a lot of what we call like podcast guest matching services that you can get involved in. One of my favorites is Alex Sanfilippo, but there's several. I'll link up a couple of them in the show notes. But the idea there is for you to be really clear about your topic, and then you list yourself in this database, and you can reach out and pitch other show hosts, or you can wait to receive pitches from people. If you're really sophisticated in your business, I will just say, this may or may not be the best use of your time, but if you're newer, it absolutely is worth your time. It's worth getting in front of some new audiences. It's worth getting your name in front of a set of hosts that may or may not even know about you yet. And then along the lines of paid exposure, there are podcast booking services and speaker booking services that you can align yourself with. Now, if you are going to get paid to share your wisdom on a stage, it's definitely worth it to research speaker bureaus that specialize in your niche or your type of speaking opportunities you're looking for. I think there's a lot of podcast booking agencies that are great, but they are an investment, and you have to be absolutely crystal clear what kind of audiences you want to be in front of and what topic is really going to serve you so that you're monetizing that investment back. And I think that's why I got really passionate about helping people craft these proper messaging elements, because I was hearing so many people say, I'm doing all of this, Melanie, and it's not attracting clients. And I would dissect their talk and go, I think I know why it's not working, because your talk is not really fine-tuned. So if you are going to invest like that, definitely make sure you've got that clarity and you've really got that strong messaging to get the ROI. And I think the last little tidbit here that should be super helpful is to really consider how you're owning your own influence and your own authority, and being that person, being influential, being an authority, really owning your expertise and finding ways to help elevate that positioning, if you will, in your audiences. It shifts the energy. Other influencers oftentimes are looking for influencers to collaborate with. And the more you show up that way, the more energy, reaches out without you having to do all the effort. Think of it like the silent buzz factor. It's like you're owning your authority. Your name is out there. Your visibility is in front of audiences, and you allow that buzz factor to do a lot of the legwork. Here's how you do that. Develop a really magnetic talk that's relevant in your audience right now. Get buzz and momentum around your message. You can do that simply on social media by sharing what I talked about earlier, social content. Develop your own audience. Build a list, build a community, build a Facebook group, build a social following, and allow that to be an asset that has value to people booking speakers and guest experts on their shows. I mean, the cold hard facts is people want to do business and collaborate with other people who are stepping up their game and bringing energy. Yes, you probably have all the talent in the world, but the skill to develop is being an authority, being buzzworthy, really like committing to that piece of the puzzle. And if you don't know how to do that, please reach out. Let's come up with a game plan to help you elevate your game that way. It will pay off in spades, I promise you. So those are some of my favorite ways, both paid and free, to get your message in front of new audiences and turn on what I like to think of as a ongoing 24/7 lead source. You should be getting your best clients this way. And I'm sure you probably have some great suggestions that I didn't even think of for today. Please come into the Amplify Your Authority Facebook group. Feel free to jump on the thread for this show today and share some of your tips and insights too. I know you've got expertise that more people probably need to hear about. Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.